So the tea tariffs have caused a tea shortage at my house, which has caused me to go find teas. I've been procrastinating tea tasting.
Yes.
And look, it says spring 2023, and I never like to let my tea get more than like 6 months old. I was so excited to get this, so I don't know why. I guess I just don't have time to do tea tastings.
That's probably
Tea
true.
tastings take time. But I have had people on my YouTube videos inquiring and asking, are you going to be doing any more tea tastings? It's obviously been a while, and I apologize. I always say, yes, I've got some to do, and then I don't do them. So this, I was excited to get. Minto Island Tea Company, established 1989, Oregon's first tea farm. It's from the United States, and there's not a whole lot of tea farms in the United States.
True.
It says from Oregon's Willamette Valley. I know we've done tea from the Mississippi Tea Company
Yes.
in the state of Mississippi, and I think I've done some from Hawaii. And now Oregon.
Yeah.
This says Brown Island Road, Salem, Oregon, United States. And it has one ingredient. Apparently Chris and Elizabeth own it, and they use both traditional and modern techniques to produce small batch handcrafted organic teas from our very own tea plants grown in the fertile Willamette Valley of Oregon. Our tea farm was established in 1989 with plants sourced. To put it on the table, I was wiggling too much. With plants sourced from the greatest tea growing regions around the world, we believe growing certified organic tea plants is the first step in creating a high quality tea that reflects and respects our unique growing region. As one of the few commercial tea growers in the country, we are proud to be at the forefront of a new American tea tradition. I love that.
Yeah.
And on this side, they give a guide to brewing. So for green tea, they, as is often recommended, 175 to 185 degrees. So they don't tell much about how they process the tea, but I'm anxious to see it. And it's been sealed up, so hopefully it's okay. Let's see. So in the box, we've got a bag, and it's sealed. Surprisingly enough, I smell fruity. That's my first impression of the aroma. Definitely high quality tea. I think this would be considered rolled, so they said handcrafted, so it must be hand rolled. And look how long the pieces are. And it is dark for a green, at least in the dried format. Opened up the window to get direct light on it so you can see it better. Got 185, and rather than a Gaiwan, I'm just going to put it in here. And from what I've learned, just barely covering tea is similar to it being in a Gaiwan. And I'm not going to leave it very long. I would call this pale, I guess, on the tea color spectrum, but it is also on the green end. Now to taste it.
Yes.
Well, wait, first we gotta sniff the leaves. It's been so long that I forgot my process. That quickly changed. It now smells very vegetal to me. But look at the nice tea. And I only steeped it about a minute, which I'd usually do a few seconds, but I went a little longer. It has not unfurled all the way, which I would expect. So we'll look at it again later. I've decided it's a grassy scent. Okay, here is the tea after about 4 steeps. You see it is a nice, beautiful green tea. So I'm recording with my phone onto my laptop, my notes, rather than the better way. And here are my notes, and we've reviewed these things already. I said, shame on me, I did let this tea get 2 years old before I tasted it, and I had to get on an email list to catch it for sale as it sells out fast. So here's the tea on the website. I don't know in 2023 if I spent $21 or not, but you'll see if we go all the way down, select a harvest, and 2023 was their first year, I guess, but they're all sold out. And this is, they don't have 2025 up yet. The tasting notes for the 2023, they said honeydew, sweet cream, and citrus. So what I find interesting is that the 2024 has lemon icing and candied citrus rind, and maybe a bit of ripe persimmon and long lingering sweet finish. So even they show the tasting to be different from year to year, because 2024 starts off slightly vegetal and transitions to something akin to a tart kiwi and white grape jelly. That's interesting. So here's my tasting notes. When I was smelling the dry, this dry in the bag, this dry in the bag, I got very fruit category, and then I always try to break it down from there, and I think it was more lychee of the classic tea, which is fig, but it could have been muscatel, which is raisin. And then after it was steeped, that all went away, and the wet tea was just strongly vegetal. So the short steep was pale, but the very long steep was actually yellow. And you see my color spectrum here. A reminder, all of these are available on my website to download for free, all these graphics. So what did you think about the body?
I think the body is closer to full.
Yeah.
For green tea.
I decided it was medium, but I actually thought it was medium full,
right,
which really was not expected. I got to take another sip.
Right. I agree with that.
That really surprised me about that.
Yes.
So let's talk about astringency. What did you think about that?
Well, the first steep was okay. It's very short.
It was smooth, super
yes.
smooth.
Yeah, I agree.
But I only did like a 1 minute steep on it.
Right. The second one was not smooth.
Yeah. So
had a stringency phase.
In our little you had a stringency phase.
Yes.
Yeah, that's never good. So in our little cups, we filled them up, and because I didn't decant this into a pitcher, it stayed in there for quite a while, and that's when it turned more yellow.
Yes.
And the astringency was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But then though, after we did like 3 or 4 steeps, the astringency changed again.
Yes.
The more you steep it, like the weaker the tea gets.
Correct.
And so the astringency did what?
Dissipated, faded.
Yeah, it was more of it wasn't smooth anymore, but it was still there, but it was very light.
Right.
Light astringency, I think.
Yeah.
And then it was okay again.
Yes.
So the astringency really changed based on how you steeped it.
It did.
So now we're going to go and talk about taste. So how did it taste for you?
It tastes grassy to me.
Which is what you smelled.
Right. Well, originally I smelled a vegetable scenario, but then the grassy, I guess, became more predominant.
Well, grassy is under the vegetal category.
Right.
So,
So-
and I had decided it smelled grassy. And then I wrote on mine, I said, I guess it's grassy flavoring, but I wasn't sure. I was really having trouble with it.
Right.
So I went to the website and I read them. They said honeydew, sweet cream, and citrus. Sometimes you need help with these things. You need to talk it out with other people or
I need a lot of help.
suggestions. And I wrote, I can see maybe a rind of a honeydew. I was like, not a honeydew, but the rind of the honeydew. So suggesting honeydew made me think of a rind.
Right.
Because the flavor has a little bit of a bitter flavor.
It does.
And so I actually think the honeydew rind is the best description. And no wonder I had trouble with it, because that's a really difficult thing
I would agree with that.
to come up with, to relate to. And I said it's like eating a slice of honeydew, and I inadvertently took a bite too far into the rind.
Right.
And so it's like maybe the honeydew, the sweet honeydew fruit is gone, and you just bite into the rind inadvertently, and that's what it tastes like.
Not being a honeydew fellow.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
doesn't
get
eat a
that.
lot of fruit, so he has more difficulty
Yes.
relating to it. Let's talk about finish. Finish is what you get after you swallow, and I have all these categories, which are very helpful in my download on my website. So what did you think?
Well, I think it lingers, and it's a bit mouth-watering.
I don't get too much lingering. I didn't put that, but yeah, definitely juicy and mouth-watering. So with the bitter flavor of the tea, I was kind of expecting it to be, bitter in the finish, but it's
Right.
not. But it is. I have to keep taking a test taste.
Understand.
Yeah, it's definitely juicy and mouth-watering.
It does do that, yes.
And not a whole lot of flavor after you swallow.
Right.
So how would you rate it? How many hearts? 1 to 5?
I would give it a 3.
A 3.
Yeah.
I almost gave it a 3. But I actually, let's see. Here's from my download. So number 1 is hard to swallow. It's not that. Number 2, I swallowed it. And number 3 is might buy it again. I think it deserves a 3. But according to I swallowed it or might buy it again, I don't think I would buy it again. So I actually went with a 2. And I think a 2 is a little harsh. But grassy green teas are not my favorite palette, and I didn't like the astringency.
Yeah.
I do think it's a good tea for a hand-rolled green tea, though. It's just not my thing. So
Right. So
some people might give it a higher rating.
yeah, based on what you just said,
Yeah.
I would.
So
that's-
just because I gave it 2 hearts doesn't mean that it's a bad tea at all. It's actually a really good high-quality tea.
it is.
It's just not my thing.
It's just not your cup
and
of tea.
and it's just not my cup of tea, and that's why I procrastinated tasting it, because I guess I know green teas really aren't my thing.
Yeah, but I did enjoy.
Yeah, it was fun to do a tea tasting again. I actually have a couple more old teas that I bought, so maybe we'll do 2 more here soon.
Oh, wonderful.
2 more tastings, because these tariffs. I was buying from my favorite tea, which is a roasted oolong. I do like roasted oolongs a lot.
Yes.
Dark roasted oolongs are better than light roasted oolongs. So
Yes.
I think it's the roasting and the processing. And I went to buy it, and the U.S. website was, all the little notes said, sold out, sold out, sold out for, 4 pages of oolongs. And there was only 3 that said that it was in stock.
Wow.
And none of them that were my favorites. And I was
Right.
a little disappointed. I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to go through withdrawals. I'm going to have to break from my expensive tea habit,
Yeah.
which is my one comfort luxury thing that I do.
Your indulgence.
My indulgence, my one indulgence, daily indulgence.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I guess, I should be breaking from it anyway. It's not, caffeine's not real good for you. And
Uh-oh.
then I realized their website, I think it's in China, was now shipping to the US again.
Yes.
The shipping was kind of expensive, but I'm going to have to wait a long time for the import process, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I had to pay for it, so I went ahead and bought in bulk. So I'd have my tea for a while.
Oh boy, I'm gonna need a pod
And
out there.
now I gotta go, and all these teas I've been procrastinating, I gotta go drink them up. So it's a good thing.
Should we drop a pod on the lawn to put all your tea in?
It's actually a good thing to cause me to go drink up all these old teas, but I'm getting really low on tea.